Okay, hello everyone. In this video tutorial, I will show you how to set up a virtual machine using VirtualBox. I had created a video earlier, but I just want to create another one to clarify how to set up the VM or virtual machine using VirtualBox. Some of you might use the VMware, okay? VMware workstation player, okay? You can try that using you can try using a VMware workstation player. The concept is the same. So let me show you how to set up and configure using VirtualBox, okay? The first thing that you need to do, you need to go to setting, okay? And then go to the network. If you notice that I have two adapter here. One is the net and the other one is the host only network. Okay. This host only network allow the computer of the VM to communicate with this host. Okay. So again, here under network setting, I set up net, which allow me for the VM to browse on the internet. And then this one, the host only adapter allow me to communicate with this, that allow the VM to communicate with the host. Okay, so remember that. All right, and then here I want to show you that the IP address, okay, the IP address, if I go to IP config, okay, you notice that this is my external IP address, okay, 10.60.1.54. That is my external IP address, and this is the gateway. The internal IP address of the host is this one. Where is my host here? Here. IP config, okay. If I do this slowly, let me see. There we go. 192.168.2.110. So let me make a note here, notepad. I'm going to create a notepad. My host PC has two IP address. One is external and the other one is internal. Okay. My internal IP address is 192.168.2.1110. Okay. And then on my VM, okay, how do you configure this internal IP address? Okay, on the VirtualBox, you have to go to File and Preference. If you notice that here on the network, you have the net, right? Make sure you check this net, and then you go host only network. And if you look at that, if I'm gonna edit this, look at this. I have an IP address 192.168.2.111. Okay, so this is the host PC address for the internal. Okay, as you can see there. So now how we set it up for the VM machine? Okay, on the VM machine, you notice that. Let me see. On the VM machine, if you look at that on the VM machine here, if I go to IP, on the VM machine, if I go to IP config, right, I have this 2.120. Okay, so this VM will allow me, okay, if you notice that on my VM there are two IP. One is for the external, which is 10.0.2.15, and this is my internal, okay, which is the VM machine IP address. This allow me to communicate with the host, which is this machine, my host. Okay, in my host, in the case is 210. So now I have to show them VM. Okay, when you configure net, the VM will get automatic address from that. Okay, so you can ignore that. And 2 is the VM IP address. You're gonna set up a static 192.168.2.120. Notice that they are in the same subnet, so that the host PC can communicate with the VM. Okay, so how you configure that on the VM machine? You go here. Okay, go to this one, open network setting, and then on the local area network here, you go to property, and then go to TCP/IP4 and property. You notice that that is 192.168.2.120. It is very important that you set up the VM machine with the same subnet of your host PC. Otherwise, you won't be able to communicate. Okay? So now you know how to configure your VM IP address. After you configure your VM IP address, you need to verify. Always, okay, when you do these networking things, you need to get your hands dirty. So you need to verify this. Okay, IP config. There we go. Now we have 192.168.2.120. Also on my base, if you notice that we are in 2.110, so they are in the same network. So now I can ping this. Okay, so this is my VM machine. If I ping this, ping 192.168.2.110, ping, there we go. You get the reply address. Similarly, from my host PC here, if I ping 192.168.2.120, boom, there we go. They're supposed to be able. Okay. You need to verify these data networks. Okay. You need to verify this data networking ready before you can configure the voice. Okay. So this is the first step that you need to do. Right. Remember, first you need to have the data networking working properly. After you've complete that, then you can proceed to configure your Bricky key. Student cannot configure the Bricky key. Student cannot configure, do not proceed to the Bricky key voice application if your networking is not ready. So if you still have some confusion about the networking part, make sure you review your networking stuff, and hopefully you'll learn that in the advanced networking. So I minimize this. Okay. So that's how you make the connection between the host PC to the VM machine using VirtualBox. The concept of the VM workstation player is the same. You just have to make sure that you configure the VM host PC with this IP address, with the static IP address, and then later on in the VM operating system you configure with this IP address. If you don't want to use .2 network, you can use .1 networks. Okay. If you have trouble pinging from the host to the virtual and the virtual to the host, you need to disable the firewall. If you notice that here, if I go to control panel, I disable the firewall. You need to disable the firewall in the host PC and the VM machine. You notice that I turn off the firewall. If you have the firewall on, you may not be able to ping. Okay, so this is the first step before you can proceed to the next one. Thank you. I hope that this video is informative to you, and email me if you have any questions. Please be patient as you work on this hands-on exercise. Thank you.